I think of the perfect Montana winter weather, this is it. Big fat flakes of freshly fallen snow. It's hovering right below freezing. This is the reason a lot of people enjoy winter in Montana.
Hey boys! Huckleberry! Come on! Come on! What are you boys doing? You cold? Shivering? Buddy? Maybe you cold? Go back in the truck? Okay.
Even though this is the perfect weather for the horses with their winter coats, even in his little Carhartt, Huckleberry does get a bit cold.
Oh, buddy.
I started the morning off by giving everybody some breakfast hay. I'm gonna have to come back in a little while and give them some bigger piles. Huckleberry was feeling pretty sorry for himself until he spied his toy as we were going around and feeding the horses.
Oh, buddy.
One of the reasons I don't bring Huckleberry with me to the barn in the winter is because he doesn't realize when he's cold. He'll get distracted and start playing, and I really don't want him to get his paws frostbitten. I'll kick the ball for him a few times, but when I'm finished feeding these horses their hay, I'll stick him back in the truck to warm up.
Hey, hold on, boys.
While these boys are enjoying their snack, I'll go ahead and check on their water.
Hey, Whip.
It is kind of a weird temperature this morning. It's a little bit too warm for these horses to have the snow stay on top of them. As they start digesting this new hay, they will probably have all of the snow on their backs melt.
Oh, Pete, you okay?
I honestly wish it was about 5 degrees colder because these horses are a little bit on the warm side. Thankfully, even though the snow is melting on their coats, it will just run right off of them, and their hair underneath will still be able to keep them nice and toasty warm. The snow melting off of their backs is not a big deal. If it was actually raining, these boys would be pretty chilly. But this is totally normal Montana winter for these horses. They have the proper hair coats to stay warm.
Yeah, boy, Pete.
All of the horses seem to be in pretty good spirits, even Pete. Since we've had some really cold days, I've been keeping a very close eye on these horses' water intake. All of the waters have heaters in them, so for the most part it does stay thawed out enough for them to drink. When it does get super cold though, I do like to leave an insulating layer of ice on the tippy top. This ice can get pretty thick, but as long as the tank is in, then the horses can stick their little noses through this hole and get to the nice warm water underneath. Some people break up all the ice, but I really like to leave this layer on the top because then I just have to clear out the little nose holes, and most of the time they don't even freeze over. I have been putting grass hay out for these horses on the little snack sticks. Last night I did put it on the ground, so these are completely empty now. It really only started snowing about an hour ago, so these horses do have hay under the snow that they could have been eating. This time of year, it's important that these horses have access to hay 24/7.
Come on, let's go, bud.
The fermentation of fiber in their hind gut is actually what keeps them warm on these really cold days. It's a hard concept to explain to a human because our bodies work so differently, but it is a huge part of these horses being able to withstand these colder temperatures.
Hey, Bear! Hey, girl!
Last night it got about 20 degrees, we had no wind, and it wasn't
Come on, let's
supposed to
get in the
snow until
truck.
this morning. Although Huckleberry is cold, even with his jacket on, Pearl is one of the horses that stays completely comfortable, especially now that she
Can't
has her
lift you.
neck
Come
rug.
on.
With Huckleberry safe in the truck, I can continue my chores for the morning. Even with this weather, Pearl has still steadily been gaining some weight back.
Hey, Mama.
I did stick her inside for the very cold days, but she is so much happier out here now.
Mama. Oh, I know. Okay.
She actually has gotten a little bit of an attitude. If she sees I'm going to catch her and try and bring her inside, she actually runs away from me. So she definitely enjoys this weather outside in her little blanket. I've only put her inside a handful of times, but I have noticed that on days she goes inside, the edema on her midline is much worse. Both her blanket and her neck rug are waterproof, so she can stand here out in the snow and be totally fine. The one really cold day we had last week where it was 40 below zero with the wind chill, she was inside for that, but as long as the wind isn't blowing, this girl is perfectly comfortable out here.
Oh, ma'am. Hold on. Back it up.
I know it's still pretty hard for some people to wrap their heads around, but most of these horses, even when they have access to shelter, will not stand inside. I've been having a little bit of trouble with some of the waters, and it looks like I made a little bit of an ice skating rink here last night. Thankfully I didn't hurt myself, but I'm gonna go try and find a little hose or a pool noodle or some pipe insulation to make this task a little bit easier for me. Pearl is definitely adjusted now to the warmer water. She's drinking really well and staying pretty hydrated. The other water that I've been having a really hard time with is these boys out here. I do have a little piece of hose that I've been using, but the other day when it was really cold, I forgot to bring it in and it did get cracked in one point. I tried to use one of my longer hoses yesterday, but that one was all clogged up with ice, so I'm gonna have to figure out a solution. I'm still not back to 100%, so I definitely should not be carrying heavy buckets of water around. I'll make sure they have enough for today, but by this evening, hopefully I'll figure something out. Since I really haven't been at the barn as much as I usually am lately, it was nice this morning to just drive around and kind of hang out with the horses a little bit and enjoy the nice winter weather.
Boys? Here's snow. Pete? Boy, Pete? Oh, Pete. Pete? Boy. Boy, Pete? Boy? Stewie. His hair, Stu. Oh. Pete.
Scarlet and Ziggy are still getting turned out every day. When the weather is like this, it's easier for those horses to maintain their body heat when they're all either completely
Well,
outside or
hold on,
completely
girl.
inside.
Whoa, Mayor.
As you can see, Scarlet has melted all of the snow off her body because she has been going in and out all morning waiting for her breakfast. As she stands here out in the snow and eats, her body will adjust and she will be a lot more comfortable than she was just going in and out of her run. I did put some hay out here last night, and Scarlet is a pretty resourceful mare. I think because she was wild, she does have a little bit more of an instinct than some of the other horses. There is plenty of hay underneath the snow for these horses today, but I'll probably go ahead and give them a little bit more once I get all of the other chores done. Even though Ziggy has started to get a little bit annoyed by Scarlet, he still gets upset when he doesn't go out right away. I think out of all of the horses, Ziggy was the one that suffered the most while I was out of commission. He has definitely grown accustomed to getting snuggles every day, and I typically brush him twice a day because he does roll so much and gets so dirty all the time. He does kind of remind me of Frisco Bill when he was younger, just a very people-friendly horse. And this morning he wouldn't go eat any hay until I gave him the proper amount of scratches. I've been really happy with this little extra windbreak that I've put up for Pearl. It seems to be doing a really good job of keeping just the little breezes that come along out of her pen.
Hey, girl.
I have started feeding her smaller meals throughout the day because she is starting to waste a lot of the thicker stemmed alfalfa I give her. With all of the snow that we're getting, I don't want to give myself more work in the spring and find a bunch of hay underneath the snow. So she's been getting a little sled of hay about 4 times a day. So far it's helped prevent a lot of the waste that I was seeing when I was feeding her an all-you-can-eat smorgasbord. It looks like this morning we've gotten about 2.5 or 3 inches of snow. I'm really surprised that this is frozen solid. The tank heater is plugged in. Like clockwork, as soon as Ziggy gets out here, he has a good roll around and a scratch. With as much as Ziggy rolls, I'm surprised he doesn't have some kind of skin condition, but I think he just really likes to roll around. Some horses, it helps adjust their back, so that might be why Ziggy rolls a little bit more often than the other horses.
Hey, girl.
Another one of the horses that did get a little bit on the depressed side when I wasn't able to spend as much time with them this last week was Scarlet. She is one that also gets brushed twice a day, and she really has grown fond of the new horse vacuum. She's actually taken to standing right in the spot I need her, and if I don't vacuum her, she gets a little bit stubborn to go in her stall. I'm pretty surprised she likes being vacuumed so much, but I think it does feel good for a lot of them, gets the blood moving. I imagine it's like a little massage.
Girl. Zig.
As usual, Ziggy is a little bit jealous of the scratches that Scarlet's getting.
Oh.
I was surprised to see when I went to break the ice on this tank that there actually wasn't any. It was just snow sitting on the top.
Hey, Zig.
These horses will be perfectly comfortable out here. We are only supposed to get maybe another inch of snow. I don't think it's supposed to be above freezing today, so it should stay a really nice temperature
Careful,
all
girl.
day long. With Pearl doing a lot better, I've been thinking about who might be the right fit for her, and I'm thinking I might just integrate her into Scarlet and Ziggy's little herd. With Pearl being on the older side, I think she could really help Scarlet figure out her place in the herd. I also think that Ziggy would like a more seasoned mare to look after. With these two turned out, I can now get back to some of my chores in the barn.
Hey, Nigel. Nigel. Nigel.
Even though it is snowing pretty heavy right now, all of the horses are just standing out in the elements. They are completely comfortable with their winter hair. Even when I very first arrived this morning, Nigel was standing out just in the middle of his pen enjoying this cooler weather. Both Nigel and Frisco Bill are still getting their mash. I've been making it at home so it stays a little bit warmer. Prim has been a little bit extra sassy lately and she keeps breaking this one board on their fence, so I think I might just leave it down so these two can groom each other.
Tiny, you okay?
After giving all of the horses in the barn their mash and hay, it's now time for me to distribute the pills to Nigel and Frisco Bill.
Frisco Bill. There you go. Ready for your peel? Play.
In addition to Frisco and Nigel, Pearl is getting a little bucket of mash as well. She does like the senior feed that she's been getting, but I do think that is having a little bit of a negative impact overall on her health. So I'm going to switch her back to just getting a regular mash and the vitamins and minerals.
Go.
I'm hoping once I take away the senior feed that the edema on her midline will get a little bit better. When the weather gets really cold, I do like to add some soaked warm beet pulp to the other horses' meals. They just get their regular ration balancer with a scoop of beet pulp on top and some vitamin E. I am going to let it sit for a little while and hopefully that ration balancer will break down a little bit. I popped inside to see how my hose was coming along, but it is not thawing out at all.
What's up? Come on. Come here. Come on.
For those of you guys that are still worried about Tiny, she does spend a lot of time in my insulated, heated tack room in the winter time. It does have a little cat door. All of her food is in here. She has water. She does turn into a little bit of a princess in the wintertime without much to do in the mousing department. With the snow really accumulating now, I better get the rest of this hay out to the horses.
Tiny! Tiny! What are you doing?
I love that Tiny wants to hang out with me more, but I can't have her being around the gator. I would hate to accidentally run her over, so she does need to be scared when this thing starts up. With the gator all loaded up with hay, I can now go grab the breakfast meals for the horses outside. One thing that I started doing while my husband was helping me is feed the horses their breakfast and then drive into their pen and put some hay piles out in different areas. I think it's been helping the horses move around a little bit more, and it's a little bit easier on my arm because I don't have to toss as much hay. Scarlet and Ziggy do have two pretty big hay piles, but I'm going to put another extra one because it looks like Ziggy is running Scarlet off of the hay this morning. With Huckleberry all warmed up, he can come back out and run around and play a little bit more. He does get a little bit of cabin fever, so it's good for him to get out and run around a few times a day, even if he does get a little bit cold and I end up having to stick him in the truck. It's a little bit wild. These
What are you
horses
doing,
have
bud?
been munching on their first pile of breakfast hay for about an hour now, and as you can see, all of the snow has melted off of their backs. The temperature outside has not changed at all, but just that extra heat from digestion has warmed them up quite a bit. They are going to need to maintain that internal heat throughout the day, so I'm going to put out some bigger piles for them to enjoy until dinner time rolls around. It was really nice to be able to get out this morning and enjoy some extra time with the horses. Of course, Nigel didn't seem to enjoy the extra affection, but that's pretty standard for him. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.
Want to get in? Ready to go? Stud man. Boys. Stud man. Stud man. Hey, buddy. Hey, bud. You okay?